So, years ago, I almost lost a huge client because I refused to learn a simple piece of technology. I was convinced I didn't need it, I was too busy, and the old way of working was just fine. Does it sound familiar? Here's what I've learned after interviewing hundreds of entrepreneurs. The most successful ones aren't necessarily the most talented or the ones with the most money. They're the ones who never stop learning. They're tech savvy, not because they were born that way, but because they understand something fundamental. Technology evolves constantly. So, markets do too. And the entrepreneurs who thrive are the ones who embrace both realities. Today, I'm revealing why the best entrepreneurs are tech savvy and how you can become one of them, even if you think you're bad with technology. Welcome back to the Jamilia Greer Show, where we reveal the raw, unfiltered journey behind entrepreneurial success. I'm Jamilia Greer, and today we're talking about a topic that makes many aspiring entrepreneurs uncomfortable. Get ready, technology, right? But not for the reasons you might think. This isn't about becoming a coding genius or a programmer or developer or buying every new gadget. This is about a mindset, one that separates those who merely survive from those who truly thrive in business. So, let me tell you a story that changed everything for me. So, my story is this, like a lot of people think because I have worked in technology and data for so many years that I understand everything about technology. And it's absolutely not true. Okay. It couldn't be further from the truth. I have to constantly learn and constantly push myself to stay on top of what's happening in the tech space. And even behind the scenes with my business, I'm learning about AI, I'm learning about automation, I'm learning about AI agents, I'm learning about chatbots, I'm learning about different LLMs, different large language models. I'm pushing myself to learn that because the reality is that if you are not keeping up with the pace of technology, if you're not constantly learning, then you're falling behind. Like there's no stagnation here, right? Like if you learn today about AI automation, right? If you learn today about one very concrete piece of technology and you feel like you've mastered it, I promise you, 6 months from now, that will be outdated and you will be left behind because technology is moving at such a fast pace these days that you have to choose to keep up with it because if you don't continually learn, you'll be left behind. If you decide to stop learning, you're deciding to be left behind. And I think that's what most people don't really understand when it comes to learning about technology. So, what does tech savvy really mean? Like when most people hear tech savvy entrepreneur, they picture some 20 something year old who's been coding and has been building websites since the age of 10. Right. That's not what I'm talking about. Being tech savvy is not about being a coding genius. It's not about being an early adopter of a trend or every trend. And it's definitely not something that you're born with. It's about having the curiosity to explore how technology can solve your specific problems. It's about the willingness to be uncomfortable while learning something new. And a lot of people do not want to be uncomfortable, they just do not. Like, I remember my first attempts at using various types of technology. Like, I was completely lost. And like I said, a lot of people think because I spent over 15 years working on tech and data from a legal side that I'm just like some tech guru, and it's not true. So the technology market evolves, and entrepreneurs have to evolve too. And that is just the fundamental truth. I noticed a huge correlation between my tech adaptability and business growth. And I think that's where a lot of people miss the mark is that they think that you can totally succeed in business. You can just kill it in business and not worry about tech. You can just outsource it. Right? That's not where we are today. 2025 is not the year that you can think that you can just hire someone to solve all of your tech problems. Because the minute you do that, the minute you give over that power of learning, you're done. Okay. So let's look at like success versus stagnation. So here are some like examples. I know a lot of people who totally just like refuse to embrace digital marketing. And what happened to their business as other people took off, right? Because you have to remember, it's not just you. It's not just you in this. Other people are learning. Other people are understanding social media. Other people are understanding chatbots. Other people are understanding how to set up automations in the back end. So when someone DMs you, they get the freebie, they get the emails, they get on the automation sequence, but you're not, right? And so the gap becomes wider, and your competition, or those other people who are in business, right? Those other people who your client or your customer is experiencing, they feel like I'm getting the best customer service with so and so. They're so responsive. They always answer my questions. I never have a wait time. Whereas you, who are being stagnant, if you're being stagnant and deciding not to learn, you're the one who has, frustrated customers, angry emails. Why didn't I get this? You're the one that has to write apology emails all the time. And it's a huge hassle. It's a huge hassle. So this is the contrast between an entrepreneur who is thriving by adapting early to learning things such as like AI and automation with other people who are not. And so I realized that my tech resistance at the time was holding my business back. It's not that I didn't have enough money to scale or enough money to grow things, right? So we always talk about like this trade off between time and money when you're growing a business, like time and money. And a lot of people say, I hear it all the time, particularly when I do live streams, it's like, I don't have money. I don't have money to hire someone for this. I don't have money for moderators. I don't have money for a community manager. I don't have money for sales. I don't have money for digital marketing. But you have time. But you have time to learn, right? You have time to take a YouTube course. It's totally free, right? And so they don't realize the power of learning or the power of technology through learning about technology. And that's what keeps them stagnant. So I'm telling you guys, like technology is a great equalizer in entrepreneurship. 10 years ago, you needed so much capital, right? Like you guys remember if you wanted to build an app, if you wanted to build a platform, you wanted to build a marketplace, you needed to hire devs, you needed to do so much stuff. It was so much work. And nowadays you don't need that. There are so many no code solutions, right? No code, zero code solutions for marketplaces, zero code solutions for anything. It's out there. And there's literally no excuse to not learn about this stuff, right? If you don't have money, if you don't have capital, I can understand that. But you do have time and you do have the ability to learn. So if you think about today, like a single person with the right tech stack can build something that rivals industry giants. You see this all the time. You see this with open source, right? Someone launches some open source code product, and then like the big boys and the global companies, they're scrambling to figure out how they're going to compete with it because they themselves, like they've never experienced that before. Technology enables entrepreneurs to build from unlikely locations. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, it doesn't matter what your social status is, what your income class is, how much money you have in your bank account at this point in time, you can build. So, one thing I learned about this, like working with big companies, international clients, and partners with technology, is that sometimes they're actually at a disadvantage. And you wouldn't think that. You would think that the company that has the most money would be at an advantage. You would think that. But trust me, it's not true. I mean, I've worked with some of the largest banks and international companies, and I can tell you that their biggest challenge is they're too slow. They're too slow. They can't learn fast enough. Here's a little hint. If I hope you guys catch this. I hope you guys catch this. There is an arbitrage opportunity in that, right? Let me explain what I mean. If you are in fashion, right? You're designing clothes. You want to have your own clothing line. And you're thinking, I don't have enough money for production. I don't have enough money for social media or design. Have you heard about these live streams that people are doing? So now when people are selling clothes, selling any product, but I've seen it a lot in the fashion industry, on TikTok for sure. It's this live shopping. So what happens is that someone who is selling a garment, what they do is they take the garment, they get in front of the camera, they have like a few mannequins and they're like, "Oh, would you like to buy this? Would you like to buy that?" And they're just selling, right? What do you think it would cost for H&M or Zara or The Gap or any one of these large companies to get to a point that they can live stream their new products? I'll tell you, it will take at least a year, because they are too big to move that fast, right? There's a huge opportunity there. And so don't always think that having more capital is better. In 2025, it's whoever has the ability to learn the fastest and to adopt new technology the fastest. So it doesn't matter where you are. You can have a small team and have a big impact. And if you have the right tech stack, if you understand technology, this is exactly how you get ahead. I mean, I'm a team of like 1.5, really. 1.75. That's how many people are on my team. And I can tell you that we do a lot. We do a lot with very little, but it's because of technology. I'm based in Dubai. I have someone that's based in Swaziland. There's another woman that's based in Myanmar. We're all over the place, right? And we're doing a lot with very little. But I can tell you that that is the advantage: is you're able to move quickly, you're able to be agile and use technology to your advantage. And touching upon the point that you don't have to be in a particular location, I think this is a way of freedom for new entrepreneurs. People who, used to think that you have to be sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, clocking in, doing a timesheet, logging your hours. That's not what this is anymore. That's not how entrepreneurship is. It looks very different. You can move to a new country and start a business because technology has enabled that. Technology has enabled you to create a clothing line out of Philippines, let's say, and then to market it wherever you want in the world. But you have to understand how technology works. And I think a lot of people don't really want to put in the time and the effort to understand that. And it's because they don't have a beginner's mindset. And the beginner's mindset is so important, guys. Like I constantly, like every day, I'll push myself to like, you have to have this beginner's mindset. You don't know everything. You don't. The secret is that like truly tech savvy entrepreneurs understand that it's not about knowing everything. It's about being willing to admit what you don't know. The moment that you say, I know everything, is when you stop growing. Like I truly started to grow as an entrepreneur when I stopped pretending I knew it all and I started saying these words: I don't know, but we'll figure it out. I'm going to learn. And if you ask anyone on my team, that's what I say like every week, every call. I don't know, let's try. I don't know, we'll figure it out. And so learning new technology, it forces us outside of our comfort zones. It has to, because the technology is new and you're constantly learning. And when you have that learning mindset, when you have that beginner's mindset, you get used to being uncomfortable and the comfort level goes up because you're used to being uncomfortable. It's not a big thing anymore to start at zero, to start at lesson one of understanding something new. It actually becomes quite comfortable. So the discomfort in not knowing turns to what is normal. It's the status quo. Okay. And I really think that tech savvy entrepreneurs, they are super flexible. They have that learning mindset. And that's the sweet spot, right? And the competitive advantage that this creates is huge. It's huge. So this is what I want you guys to think about, right? I want you to think about a 30-minute daily learning practice, right? And I do this too. If anybody looks at my calendar, I have chunks of time carved out for a lot of different things. But I think if you can carve out a chunk of time for learning, do this. Go to, if you're watching this on YouTube, I know some of you are listening on just audio platforms. Go to my YouTube channel and look up some of my earlier videos. You will see how much I didn't know. I didn't know about the tech, the hardware. I didn't know about the software. I didn't know about the speaking skills. I didn't know how to make eye contact with the camera. I didn't know anything. And I was super uncomfortable. And I can tell you that I'm still learning. But the point that I'm trying to make is that when you get to the point where you're going to commit every single day to learning that one thing, you'll experience huge results. Huge results. And then I'd say also, in addition to committing to that, just like stay curious, know when to ask questions of other people, right? Find communities, find people who are on the same learning journey that you are. But start small and don't overwhelm yourself. I think there is a bit of a risk of going after every single shiny new tech that pops up in a headline. And it is very tempting. But if you do that, you won't make progress. You'll just be distracted. So find out what works, find out what you need the most. For a lot of you, it's going to be AI. For some of you, it's going to be automation. For some of you that are just starting out, you're going to have to figure out social media. Some of you, and I was like this too, especially coming from the corporate space. Everybody's on LinkedIn, everybody's posting on LinkedIn, but other platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram are totally different. There are some platforms that I'm completely ignoring. I'm ignoring Snapchat because I know that's not for me. My son is snapping away, but that's not for me. That's not where my target audience is, right? So some of this you're going to have to just ignore. But start small, okay, and implement a little bit each day, right? And use a tech buddy system, right? Find someone else that wants to learn. Be accountable to each other. And that accountability will accelerate your learning, okay? But just get rid of this tech resistance because it doesn't serve you. I think a lot of this is also like identifying triggers that we might have. Some people, when they see a new piece of technology, like, I don't understand that stuff, and they just kind of totally push it out of the way. Don't do that. Don't do that. Embrace it, right? And you shouldn't have any fear triggers about tech. You should really just push through and try to learn this stuff for sure. So, this is a simple framework I think you can do. I think you can allocate 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes, guys. Some of you scroll for hours. So, I know you can take 30 minutes and learn some new tech. And think about the future. Think about this evolving landscape. If you want to start a business, I promise you, you're going to have to up your tech skills continuously, not just once. You're going to have to make it part of your daily routine. And that's how I see this learning and beginner's mindset about technology impacting your entrepreneurial journey. If you're not willing to learn about tech, then you're not willing to learn new things about your business. 100%. If you walk into everything thinking that you know everything, then you won't be willing to learn anything new. So maintain that curiosity, maintain that desire to learn. It's actually really refreshing to be able to say that I don't know it, right? I don't know it. I need to learn it. And so for this week, I want you to identify one piece of technology that you've been avoiding. Just one, right? For me, I know what it is. It's ManyChat. It's an automation tool for social media. I looked at those boxes and lines, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to take me so long to figure out what the heck this is, but I'm going to learn it. And every day I'm committed to learning about that. So I challenge you, identify one piece of tech that you need to learn. Just one. Spend 30 minutes each day this week exploring it. And I want to hear from you guys in the comments. You can DM, you can reach out to hello@jamiliagreer.com and let me know what you've learned over the next 7 days. Okay, so that is a challenge for this week. Also, here on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, drop a comment. Let me know what you're thinking in terms of that, how the progress is going. I certainly want to hear from you guys. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And Thursdays, I have a special guest that's coming on from a tech background. The guest name is Evan McCullen. She's from Privado. She's their chief strategy officer, and we're talking all things privacy. So you can also learn through this podcast, right? So don't think you have to learn it alone. Thursdays, we're having guest interviews, learn about entrepreneurship, learn about technology. Make sure that you check that box, you get it done, and hopefully that will serve you. So, as we close out this episode, I would say just remember the best entrepreneurs aren't necessarily tech experts, they're tech explorers. And that journey of exploration never ends. So, thank you all for watching and listening to the Jamilia Greer Show. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.